Hey guys, welcome back to Berry's Corner. It's Emily here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys all the books that I read in August. Okay, number one. It's early, I'm exhausted, it's a rainy day. I feel like I kind of look a mess, so kind of just excuse that just for right now. But oh my gosh, it's September. Like, isn't that crazy? My birthday was in August 25th, and I have a birthday book haul up on this channel. A lot of you guys enjoyed it, so if you haven't seen that already, I'll leave it down below or in the cards somewhere, but I actually really love that video, so definitely go watch it. But August has been a really great month. I started college, so actually I only read 6 books in August, which is pretty good. I mean, that's kind of normal for me, nothing too out of the ordinary, but I'm very excited to get to these books. So before we do, please subscribe, comment down below, and like this video. All my social links are down in the description box below, as well as my Amazon wishlist if you'd like to give me a book. Now let's get on to the video. Guys, this month I actually read a lot of like fantasy and like sci-fi. Who am I? Who am I right now? The first book that I read was actually Todd Amafi's newest release, This Woven Kingdom. And if you guys know me, I love Todd Amafi. She's my favorite author of all time. The Shatter Me series, her contemporary novels, and even her middle grade just sit so right with me. So of course I pre-ordered the book, but I just didn't get time to read it until right now. And if you guys are expecting Shatter Me vibes, you're not gonna get the Shatter Me vibes, because Todd Amafi is known for her intricate writing style, but it is so descriptive that it's borderline hard to get into. Like, it's so hard to get into. Her diction is so flowery and beautiful, and I love it, but at the same time, like, Miss Girl, this is a YA. Please dumb it down for me a little bit, because I'm not a fantasy reader. But if you want to know what this book is about, it's basically about a girl named Alize, and she is a lost heir to a Jinn kingdom, and she's hiding in plain sight as a servant. And basically her role is that she's going to destroy the kingdom someday. So the prince of the kingdom is actually looking for her and like trying to maybe kill her, but then they meet and it's a forbidden love. And you get both of their perspective, Gamaran's perspective, the prince, and Alize. And oh my gosh, it's like forbidden love. And from this time he sees her, he's like obsessed with her. Like, it's so freaking good. I know I said it's kind of hard to get into, and it 100% is. But once you get past that initial like standpoint and you start getting into the romance, like, she knows how to write that male love interest so well, to the point where you're just like, wow, is this another guy that is like groveling for a girl? Yes it is. How they speak to one another is like, you are like the only person in the world, like I literally only want you, and like you are my person. And like, you kind, since you get Gamaran's perspective, you see him developing his feelings, and you also see the main character's like unsteadiness about the whole thing. You get like a little room thing that they're, oh my gosh, it's so good. I literally cannot explain to you. I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending, I think this is a classic. Todd Amafi's first book is like okay, and then the rest of the series like hits different, because maybe in the next book there's going to be a love triangle. We know Todd Amafi does love triangles well. Maybe in the next book there's going to be a forced marriage type thing. We don't know. Maybe there's another guy. Maybe there's another guy that I kind of maybe want to root for, and maybe it's going to be enemies to lovers. So it was really good. I gave it a 4 stars after the initial whole debacle of not getting into it. Like, it definitely is worth the while, and I definitely think it's just a big setup for an amazing rest of the series. Okay, next up I read Ignite the Stars, and it is a sci-fi novel. Who am I? Who am I that I read a sci-fi novel, okay? Ignite the Stars is very, very interesting. It's about this girl named Ayakocha, and she is the most wanted criminal in the space galaxy type thing, but she's actually just a 16-year-old girl. So the main people capture her and is like, oh, you're just like a 16-year-old girl, maybe we could use you to our advantage and like put you in our training academy, where she meets Knives, who is like the commander's son and is like training all of these people and basically has control of her. And then there's this other girl who's basically like an immigrant, but she has like a lot of pride, so she joins his academy, and she's like finding some really bad stuff about the place that she calls home, because, you know, they make fun of Tawnies, and which she's Tawny, so she's like an immigrant sort of, and they make fun of her, and she's like feeling all these conflicted emotions, and she's actually rooming with Aya. So it's like you get all 3 perspectives, and it is so freaking good. The writing is so simplistic for a science fiction novel, and like, if you're a beginner, I think this book is really, really good for you. I'm a beginner, and it's so easy to follow. Of course, there's a little bit of a romance with Knives and Aya, and I love it because it's like a slow burn. It's not like, clearly it's an enemies to lovers, like, of course, and it's not just like thrown in your face. I think the character development is something that I really enjoyed, and I read some reviews and people didn't love it. They felt like it was very immature, but in my opinion, it's a freaking YA novel. I'm a beginner in sci-fi, so like I appreciated it, how simple it was. All I can say is that the imagery was very vivid. Like even though everything was very simplified, I like had such a perfect picture in my mind of what everything looked like and what the characters looked like, and their backstories were like so cute, and I loved them. I loved it so much. I actually added the second book to my wish list because I don't read sci-fi, but I was like actually enjoying this book, and I was like, okay, you know what? We're gonna read the second book. We're gonna put it on our little TBR wish list, I think. So if you guys are looking for a sci-fi to begin with, I definitely think this one is perfect. Then I read Divergent for the first time. I have a series here on my channel called I Read Blank for the First Time. So of course I did a video on Divergent. So that is a video that will be coming out. Please watch out for it. And I really enjoyed this book. If you don't know what Divergent is, it's basically about this girl named Triss or Beatrice, and she lives in a world where it's a dystopian society where it's basically Chicago but like in different factions. So there's like Candor and Dauntless and like I think it's like 5 different factions that you can like separate from. So you're born into a faction, and then on like the day, I think when you're 16, you can choose to stay with your faction or leave to a different faction, and that will be your faction for the rest of your life. And basically Trish was abnegation, which is basically like selflessness, and she goes into Dauntless because she got in her faction test 3 different tests, which basically means she's divergent, aka the name of the book, and doesn't really fit into a faction. That was such a long-winded thing. Anyway, I read it, I enjoyed it. You have to go see that video for more context about everything because I give my in-depth thoughts of everything. But it really did bring me back to like the mid-2000s vibe, and like the writing was so simplistic, and I love Triss and Four, and I don't know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It made me giddy, it made me happy, and definitely go watch that video when it comes out. Okay, so next up, I wanted to continue the series and read Divergent. I'm actually making another video called Finishing the Divergent series. I haven't read Allegiant yet, so maybe it'll be on the next wrap up. But Insurgent. It was not better than the first one. Again, all my thoughts are going to be in that video, but I felt like this book had highs and lows. Like now there's like a war going on, and like I did not like the miscommunication trope that was literally in this book so much. Triss and Four, the amount of miscommunication that they went through, the amount of miscommunication Triss and even her brother went through was just like, who allowed this in this book? I just didn't appreciate it. The lows were really low, and there was like maybe 150 to 200 pages where I was just so bored out of my mind. But then the highs were really high. Like whenever there was like a high Triss and Four moment, I was like, yes, give it to me right now. I liked the character development and the character relationships, but I mean, like everybody was everywhere. It was very sporadic. So I think I gave this book like a 3.5 stars, or honestly a 3. Like it was okay. And I watched the movie and it was also just okay. Like I liked the first one a lot better. And also everybody says Allegiant is the worst book. That's why I haven't read it yet. And I think it just goes downhill from here. So I enjoyed Divergent, but I didn't really love Insurgent. Did I say what I gave Divergent? I think I gave it a 4.5 stars. It was real good. It made me very happy. Okay, so the next book, we're getting out of fantasy and sci, all that stuff. We're getting into romance and The Roommate. This was such like an impulsive read for me. I've heard about The Roommate, and it's basically about this girl where she goes into this apartment and the guy that she's rooming with is an entertainer, you know, maybe a provocative entertainer, you know, for the internet. You take that as you will. And basically, she's like such a goody two shoes and pure and innocent, and he's like very confident and, you know, is in the industry. So I've heard about this book for a while, honestly, and I was always very hesitant to pick it up because the subject matter, like, I don't know, I feel like there's a couple of things that could have gone wrong in a sense. I really like a book that has more romance than spice. So this book was basically like, he's literally an entertainer. So like it's gonna have a lot of spice in it, clearly. So I was just worried that it wouldn't be a good balance. And then also there's a lot of insecurities that will come with that. And I didn't know how this book would handle that topic in a sense, but I read it because people were talking about it and I wanted a roommate romance, and oh my gosh, it was so phenomenal. I love the main character. I love the male main character. We got dual point of views and I really enjoyed it. The things that I was worried about, I shouldn't have even been worried about them. The author made a perfect, and when I say perfect, I mean perfect balance between spice and romance. Like literally perfect. The spice is around a 7.5, and also like the insecurity aspect, I feel like I loved how the main character was so innocent and like she like still preserved that in a sense, which I thought was really, really great. Like I didn't want this book to like change who they are, like their personality, but it was a lot of open-mindedness. There was also a lot about the industry and how kind of messed up it is at the moment, or forever it's been, and just how these two interacted. It was so great. It was mutual pining, but like secretly, like they both wanted each other, but they were like, no, like I can't because like I don't think they want me back. But like it wasn't miscommunication. You know what I mean? Like they were very communicative, but they also were like, no, like let me just like create boundaries. And it was so good. 5 out of 5 stars. I'm telling you that this book caught me by surprise. If you were like hesitant on it just like I was, give it a try. Like please, it is phenomenal. Yeah, the next one you guys are gonna hate me about. It is Archer's Voice. This book, I've never seen a more hyped up book than this one. I tabbed it. I was so excited. My expectations were literally like in outer space. Like my expectations were so high. It follows a girl named Bree, and she moves to a small town in Maine because she wants to escape her past where some bad stuff happened, you know? She's a miserable past. But then she meets this guy named Archer, who, by the way, has an even more miserable past than her. So Archer is tainted, okay? He's also mute, and he does sign language, and the main character speaks in sign language as well because her dad was deaf, and so they have this beautiful connection between them, and I think this whole book was very lovely. Like, it was a lot of just their love story, not like other people getting in the way. There were a couple of scenes in here, like the strip club scene, if you know what I'm talking about, where I was like, I can excuse this, but at the same time, let's, you know what I mean? I think this is honestly just a glorified Wattpad book, and people are gonna hate me for that. People are gonna like literally stomp on me for that. But it's the amount of tropes that are in this book. As I said, the strip club scene, or the brother trope, or the got shot trope, or like people dying trope, like the amount of tropes that are in this book. Oh my gosh, it's literally a Wattpad novel, but like, here you go, on a silver platter. Now that doesn't mean that I didn't like this book. I definitely loved Brie, like literally obsessed with her. She's the most sweetest, kindest, patient person in the world. Archer, he's so naive, but so beautiful and kind, and I definitely love their characters individually, and I love their relationship together. But the story as a whole, like how Mia Sheridan wrote this novel, I didn't love. I gave this book, please don't hate me, please don't hate me, I gave this book a 3.75 stars, and I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was a great fun read. It was very fast paced, but I don't know, I feel like it needed something a little bit more. Like I didn't hate it. Like I think it was a great novel. I feel so bad for not like loving this book. And I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was good. I think this book is great. Good. But it's not as good as everybody else was saying, and I think the reason for that is because my expectations were so high that I literally could do nothing else but be disappointed. Okay, so those are all the books that I read in August. Please don't hate me for the last one. But yeah, tell me what you guys read in August. I would love to know. Please subscribe, comment down below, and do whatever you want to do, and goodbye.